Looking at energy purchases from Russia, I would suggest that your attention should be focused on Europe. Looking at energy purchases from Russia, I would suggest that your attention should be focused on Europe.
And finally, for the ministers, Jaishankar and Singh, why not condemn Russia's invasion? Wouldn't this best reflect India's foreign policy goals and international standing? And what is the leverage that the Indian government has to persuade Vladimir Putin that the carnage that we are seeing every day simply must not stop, that it's not helping the Ukrainian people, and that it's not helping the Russian people?
So, first of all, thank you for the advice and suggestions in your question. I prefer to do it my way and articulate it my way. Now, as Secretary Blinken has pointed out, we have made a number of statements which outline our position in the UN, in our parliament, and in other forums. And briefly, what those positions state is that we are against the conflict, we are for dialogue and diplomacy, we are for urgent cessation of violence, and we are prepared to contribute in whatever way to these objectives. I noticed you refer to oil purchases. If you are looking at energy purchases from Russia, I would suggest that your attention should be focused on Europe, which probably we do buy some energy which is necessary for our energy security. But I suspect, looking at the figures, probably our total purchases for the month would be less than what Europe does in an afternoon. So you might want to think about it.
Indian Foreign Minister Jaishankar, Russia has more and more aligned with China diplomatically, economically, and militarily. How much are you concerned about their alignment in terms of India's national security? With that concern, do you think India has to reduce reliance on Russia economically and militarily as soon as possible? Thank you.
Well, this seems to be my day to get a lot of advice and suggestions from the press, so thank you for joining that. But look, we watch what's happening in the world like any country does, and we draw our conclusions and make our assessments. And believe me, we have a decent sense of what is in our interest and know how to protect it and advance it. So I think part of what has changed is we have more options than we did before. I will look at us today. We are standing here for a 2+2 with a substantial defense collaboration which has happened in the last decade, which we have been discussing how to take forward. And this wasn't an option which was there for 40 years before that. So the world is changing. The world will keep changing. What we have to do in our profession is to watch it and see how your interests are best advanced in that. Again, I don't want this whole subject to go off on a sort of a political note. Every country looks at its best options, and I think today an expanding India-US energy relationship, which by the way didn't exist some years ago. If my memory is right, you are the second largest LNG supplier to India, I think the fourth or the fifth largest crude oil supplier, a big partner in the renewable side, including the agreement which Secretary Blinken just mentioned. So we have, there is so much more going on in the world today, and a large part of it is really to fully explore the opportunities between India and the United States.